What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Jump to Start Racing podcast. My name is Wellington. I'm here with two of my closest friends. Ruben, say hello.
What's going on, guys?
Yancy.
Hi.
As always, very animated.
Wellington's back.
I'm back, baby.
In one piece.
And yeah, surprisingly. Damn. Wow. I thought it was one of my closest friends. Not happy that I'm back in one piece. But
that's like that clip when Don Cheadle told Kevin Hart, I'm 56.
damn. Wow.
My bad.
I'm sorry.
Already it starts. Literally 30 seconds in. Can't even make it. I listened to last week's episode. You guys were so tame. And it's when dad comes home, right? That's when you guys start acting up.
I'm glad he's back to wake us up, though.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
how was your trip, Wells?
No, how was your weekend, guys? Ruben, how was your weekend? Labor Day weekend?
It's still on. Labor Day is actually today.
Yeah.
We're laboring.
We're laboring.
I'm not hungover still.
Whoa.
That was 2 days ago.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, you get older, things just linger. Maybe I just need another drink.
To wake up from.
Actually,
there you go.
What are we doing after? Okay, well,
Yeah,
let's
go.
not get into that.
Let's go downtown.
How was the trip? It was good. I went to Portugal. For those that don't know, I did not see Estoril. I did not see Portimao. I'm very disappointed at myself.
So what did you went for?
Just to kind of chill, get away from here, get away from you guys.
You missed us, didn't you?
No, I did. I missed this. I missed you guys. I missed F1, and it was really cool because I did a tour, and like the tour guy was like, "Oh, there was so much rain that came through here over the last week. It was all over Europe." And I was like, "Yes, I was watching an event in Belgium, and there was a ton of rain there. I'm sure it was the same system."
Was it the same rain that came to New York while you were gone?
No way. Oh man,
because that was
Is that what you left us with?
Hurricane Ida.
Is that what he left us with?
I think that's what it was. He knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And then there was somebody in that group that he was like, "Oh, I'm from Austria." He's like, "Do you know?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm very familiar with Austria, the Spielberg area. Do you know? Are you from there?" He's like, "Wow, people don't even know about Spielberg. How did you know?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm just that smart.
I'm just well traveled
that
like
smart.
that.
Travel the world like that, you know." I was dying the whole
I'm a man
time.
that knows things.
I would say these things in within me. I'm like cracking up, and obviously the person I'm traveling with was like, "Can you control yourself?" I had like literal tears coming out of my eyes, laughing so hard.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the weather system that I observed in Belgium. Yes.
Yeah, Spielberg has such a microclimate.
Anyway,
It's crazy.
guys, sorry. Let's get back on track. In order, I guess, to get us back on track, let's talk about our socials here. We're Jump to Start Podcast. We're on YouTube and across many podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Jump to Start F1, as you can see on the screen right now. Make sure to stop by, say hi, give us a like, thumbs up, smash the bell, leave us a comment, review. Yeah, at Jump to Start F1.
How did we do saying that last week?
You guys did
how did
great.
Yancy do?
Yancy did great. I was very impressed. You didn't trip over your words like I normally do. You didn't have to repeat yourself. But let's get into it. There's a lot to talk about.
Thank you.
First things up is right this morning we got notification. Finally, the driver's market is spicing up.
The first domino has fallen.
Not the first. The first domino actually was
Oh, yeah.
our good friend Kimi Räikkönen has announced that he's going to be retiring. That happened over the course of the week. Ruben,
Yes.
to the honors, please.
Dude, we talked about this 3 million times, bro.
Just leave him alone. He knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
His long, illustrious career, world driver champion, Ferrari driver, Alfa Romeo driver,
Lotus.
driver, finally coming to an end.
did
The
he
end of an
start
era. What do you guys think?
He started with Benetton, right?
No.
That's Schumacher.
He started with Sauber.
There you go. Okay, my bad. Because I had the Red Bull logo
Yes.
back then. Yes. What was your question? I was just.
What do you
thinking
guys think of the retirement of Kimi Räikkönen? Somebody who's been around for so long.
He will be missed. He's, to me, even though for a man that did not say much words, he was super entertaining. When he spoke, just pretty much his comeback. He just wanted to race. Oh, Kimi, yeah. And the steering wheel episode. Hey, you, steering wheel.
Right. So that was going to be my next question. But really, what should be the question is favorite Kimi moment.
Yeah, it's you.
So yours was the steering wheel?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me that steering wheel. That was 2-3 years ago at this point.
That was in Baku.
Yes. To quote Sebastian Vettel, my favorite Kimi moment.
Which one?
Just the awkward silence.
He did say that in the interviews. Yeah, he did. He did say that. That was it.
That was it.
What do you mean? So, like, silence. That's it. That was it.
Kimi is a character because it's like when you ask him a question and if it's a stupid one, that would be his.
He'll be like, they're willing to look.
Yeah, he'll give you that look and just, and then say something that's just pretty obvious and will be hilarious. Yeah, man, Kimi will be missed. He was obviously one of the quickest drivers in F1 history, world champion, drove for Ferrari a number of years, McLaren, and he was always up there. He was very quick. And yeah, he'll be missed, man. And even up until now, driving into his 40, he was still competitive. If he had a better car, he would still be up on the grid. So, yeah, man, everybody, it always comes to an end, and he has a beautiful family that he needs to tend to, and now it's time for the younger drivers to come through. Bravo, Kimi. Great career, man.
Absolutely.
It was fun.
The unexpected champion. Because remember, in 2007, there was that turmoil. Alonso, Hamilton. Yeah. I don't know where he wins.
Well, I mean, listen, he's always... That's what I'm saying with Kimi. It was an unexpected champion, but he was always in the mix.
Yes.
And when you consistently put yourself in that position, good things happen. It's almost like if you're a midfield team and something happens at the front, if you just happen to get a podium or a win, I mean, it's well-deserved because you put yourself in that position.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My absolute favorite Kimi moment, and I think I'm going to change you guys' mind, and it's going to become your favorite Kimi moment, is, I forget the year, Monaco, crashes, goes straight from the track onto his yacht to start partying. That is quintessential.
I think that one
that is quintessential Kimi. And that is...
while the race is going on.
Yes. That is a power move, like, to end all power moves. Like, all right, I'm out of here. You're not going to fire me, so I'm just going to go party at my yacht. See you guys later.
Chilling. He's
my private party.
With a champagne.
So his first entry was the 2001 Australian Grand Prix with Sauber. 2003 Malaysian Grand Prix was his first win. His last win was the 2018 United States Grand Prix with Ferrari.
It was about time.
Yeah, that was a long time coming. Mm-hmm. Last entry, obviously, it was supposed to be this past race, the Dutch Grand Prix, but it was Belgium. He had COVID over this last week, so he ended up missing the race and had Robert Kubica starting in his place. His car number 7, 345 race entries, 341 starts, 21 total wins, 103 podiums, 1,865 career points. That is a heck of a career.
The most experienced F1 driver, right?
Yep.
Is he more so than Fernando right now? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. He's just ahead of Fernando.
But Fernando came in 2003?
Yeah. I mean, as far as like race starts, I think Kimi has him. But yeah, man, like I said, everything comes to an end. He had a great career. He entertained us all, and it was hilarious.
Whether he tried to or not, he was entertained. Oh, man.
Yeah.
The other favorite Kimi moment. Oh, how could we forget? What was it, 2017 or 18? The award ceremony when he got wasted?
Yo! Yes, that's right. Because
and then he couldn't stop talking, probably.
I think he came in third in the drivers' champion. So he was getting presented, and he just got blasted.
Oh man! And then he was just in every picture. It was just so freaking funny.
Yeah.
Reminds us of our friend Paul.
Whoa!
He's not listening, so I know I can say this.
I'll make sure to send him that clip.
Man, all right. So that was the first time.
What is dying over here?
I know I'm going to hear about it. That was the first domino to fall. Along those same lines with Alfa Romeo is Antonio Giovinazzi. His seat is in jeopardy. They haven't officially announced. Sorry.
He's still dying.
Oh, poor Paul. They haven't officially announced that Antonio Giovinazzi is moving on or is being moved on. The Bergamo Bullet, my boy.
How do you feel about that, Wells?
You see I'm in tears already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that. You almost didn't come into.
No, I was so you saw. So when it was announced, we have our group chat, and they sent that the notification over, the guy sent that, and all I could put was the emoji with the expletives coming out of his mouth, because I think he's a talented driver. He showed over the course of, I guess, Saturday this past weekend that he is a talented driver and he deserves a seat. But we'll see. You know, it's as much a business as it is, on merit.
Yeah, there's also a lot of talented drivers coming up through the grid, or coming up the ranks, I should say.
Yeah.
No, and I think with him, it's been like on and off. Like he's very talented. It's shown because he's gone off and come back into F1, and he has never been, I guess, in a successful team that's been making. The Alfa Romeo has made positive moves, but they have never been able to like leap.
Right. Well, I mean,
and that's where he's been hindered.
We said it before, and I'll say it again. Consistency is key, and it's not enough to just show flashes of brilliance. You have to show consistency as well, and I don't think he's shown enough consistency. He's shown enough to maybe merit the seat and for him to be in consideration. But as far as for him to be a lock in that seat, he hasn't shown that. So
Gotcha.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So right now, or as of early this morning, both the Alfa Romeo seats were up in the air. Just before we started recording, what was announced was the confirmation of Valtteri Bottas signing a multi-year deal with Alfa Romeo to lead them into their future.
That's the applause one?
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not. There you go. Jesus, man.
Also, the Valtteri drops. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not concerning anybody now, Bottas. You out.
Not out.
Meaning he's out of Mercedes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not out. He's in. He wasn't going to go anywhere. As far as he wasn't leaving Formula One. Is that correct? Can we assume that?
Oh man, that was up in the air as well. But I think it was just depending on what he wanted to do. If he wanted to stay in Formula One, he'd definitely find a seat. He has shown one thing about Valtteri Bottas, and I think he's probably, as far as like a second driver, probably has been one of the most consistent second drivers as far as within a team environment. Yes, he always has the odd race where he's just nowhere, and this is why we get frustrated watching him, because when he is on his game, he's very quick. However, you mix in there some really bad luck, which we all can agree he's had a lot of bad luck. Also with Mercedes, obviously prioritizing their 7-time world champion, which is Sir Lewis Hamilton.
What are you?
That's the whole thing. It's just, if he wanted to be a team leader, it definitely was not going to be in a top team. So he moves down to the midfield now. The one thing that I think will help him is that it's going to be a multi-year contract.
Yes.
So he's been with Mercedes the past 5 years. Every year, there's always speculation if Mercedes was going to sign him, and I'm, not human, that which is natural for any human being. Not knowing your future is going to have some effect on your performance, especially at that level when we're talking about Formula One drivers, where there's only 20 drivers.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's going to be a chance to be the team leader, show what he's got. I think he's going to do a very good job. It's a midfield team. I think he can elevate that car to another level, which is great. And he has the security behind him. He's signed for multi-years. I think he'll do well, and good for him. I don't think he deserved to be out of Formula One.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And no, and I don't know. For me, I'm going to give you some stats, right? Valtteri Bottas, since he signed with Mercedes to start for the 2017 season, so he's been with Mercedes 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 5 seasons. In those 5 seasons, he has 9 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, and that's against Lewis Hamilton, which obviously it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
2016, Nico Rosberg, 9 wins against Lewis Hamilton. 15, 6 wins. 14, 5 wins. So it's like, okay, over the course of his whole career with Mercedes, Bottas has only managed 9 wins. To me, it's like, okay, they need to move on. They need to see what else they can do. They need
But
to see.
do you think that
But
was...
here's the thing also, and what you have to realize is the team dynamic. At that point, coming off of what was going on the last it was 2014, 2015, 2016, when you had Rosberg and Hamilton, teamed up together, it became a very toxic relationship. And
as Rosberg pretty much got better or started competing more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It became a very toxic relationship. Now, obviously, Nico Rosberg and Valtteri Bottas are two different personalities. I think it was on purpose that they brought in Valtteri Bottas, knowing that Lewis was on top of his game.
No, and that did not want that dynamic anymore.
And even if they did prioritize Hamilton, which they obviously did, they knew that Valtteri Bottas was not going to rock the boat.
Or he was going to follow orders.
Yeah, which is why Hamilton came out today on Instagram and said that he's probably been the best teammate that he's ever had in his entire Formula One career.
Because he was a stay-put driver.
Yeah, so when he was out of it, Valtteri was a team player. He's always been a team player, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. But he's just not as good as Lewis Hamilton. And obviously, you know what? 99% of F1 drivers ever are not as good as Lewis Hamilton. He's one of the best drivers to ever drive. He's gonna probably have all the records beating Michael Schumacher, which nobody ever thought nobody would ever beat Michael Schumacher's records.
Yeah, these are records that were
you have to take that into account. I'm not, I'm not fighting you on like any of that stuff. You're right. He has his spots where it's like, what are you doing, Valtteri? But again, it's against Lewis Hamilton. It's in the top team. He has helped them ever since he's been on the team. Helped them win the Constructors Championship. So that counts for a lot. It's a lot of experience that's going to Alfa Romeo.
Yes, he picked up in the last 5 years a ton of experience. Yes.
Mm-hmm. But to be part of a winning team.
Yes.
Yes. But remember, he wasn't also a back marker when he was with Williams. When he was with Williams, he was also constantly on top of his game as well. That's the reason why he was...
That's why they took him.
Yeah, so he was promoted to F1, to Mercedes.
To Mercedes.
But by accepting that challenge of coming to Mercedes, I'm pretty sure he had to also give away a lot of leeway when it came to, winning and all that other stuff, because they did not want, again, Hamilton is supposed to be the winner and the number one driver at Mercedes. They're not going to bring somebody to contest that again, which pretty much what Rosberg did.
No, and it's been proven. I mean, Hamilton...
But it's not going to change now that George Russell's coming.
Well, I mean, it hasn't been confirmed, but that's where we're going. And go ahead, Wells.
No. So thoughts. So that's really pretty much it. Thoughts on it's automatic at this point. George Russell joining Mercedes for next year. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think as far as Mercedes team moving forward? Mercedes team stepping into their future. What that means for the World Drivers' Championship next year. What it means for the and beyond, and the Constructors' Championship next year and beyond.
Well, I mean, I think what I've always said, you bring in George Russell, it's going to upset the team dynamic, especially if George is competitive, which I don't think any of us have in doubt the way he's performed this season, that he will be up there with Lewis Hamilton. It'll be interesting to see how he stacks up, obviously. He's still young. But he will be a la Charles Leclerc when he went to Ferrari against Seb. It'll be that dynamic. I don't know if he will beat Lewis Hamilton like Leclerc beat Vettel when he was at Ferrari, but it's going to be a lot closer, and it's going to be a little bit more contentious. And like I said, you're inviting trouble. And I don't think Mercedes wants to do that, but I think also Mercedes had their hands tied behind their back because obviously George is a Mercedes driver, and George is not going to be patient enough to wait another year when he knows that he deserves to be in a top team.
And show him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he stepped into that car last year in Bahrain and almost won the damn race. He's shown in his qualifying performances that he's definitely quick enough.
Mr. Sattler.
Yeah, and remember the whole deal in Monza, he's definitely hungry enough as when he went up against Valtteri and almost crashed both of them out. which was a stupid mistake on his part. But I think he learned from it. He's definitely not going to be backing down like Valtteri has backed down to Lewis before. So, yeah,
but is that
it's going to be interesting. But again, I think Mercedes didn't really have much of a choice at this point. And eventually, like Ferrari did with Leclerc, you got to bring in the future because you got to start thinking about that. You got to have these young guys get into that car, make their mistakes, because they all do. Verstappen did it. Leclerc did it. Norris done it. McLaren, they make their mistakes, but they learn from it. And the more experience you get, the better you get. And those are their top drivers and that top team. You have to, obviously, Lewis Hamilton is at the end of his career. Not that he's lost anything at all. He's still wildly competitive. Still winning championships, of course. But Mercedes at one point was, I think at this point, they're forced to look at how their future is going to be look like, especially with the new rules coming up.
But is the coming of George Russell, is he going to be, are they going to tell him, like, there's certain things you cannot do here. You know, you cannot do this. You cannot challenge Hamilton. You know, like, it's going to be tough to hold this kid back because he wants to be, you know, he wants to race. He wants to elbows out, everything.
I don't think they'll come in that heavy-handed at the beginning. It'll be something like a situation like now where Hamilton is so far ahead of Bottas that it's like, all right, you gotta chill. Where if Russell can keep up, then you keep it up. Unless, so this is my fear. Like, so next year Red Bull is once again strong. Then what happens is a potential for, once again, 2007 scenario where they kill each other's points, and then all of a sudden you have another Max Verstappen. Well, a Max Verstappen championship if they beat each other up as far as the points go.
Yeah, and in Formula One, the only way you can win a championship with your two drivers fighting for the championship is you're the only team that's competitive.
Yeah.
But if you have another team like this year where you have Red Bull up ahead and Mercedes fighting, you can't have your top driver taking points of each other. One is
meaning a 2016 scenario.
It's going to kill you in the Constructors Championship, and it's going to kill you in the World Drivers Championship. And on top of that, it's even worse if you have three teams involved, which you see right now. You have Red Bull and Mercedes up on top, but Ferrari and McLaren are not that far behind,
and they're not gonna be once next year's rules are changed. What does this mean? So part of my question was Mercedes stepping into their future. What does this mean for Lewis Hamilton? So my question is more so, are we starting to see his star start to fade with Mercedes? Are they looking to say, okay, we need to not necessarily move on, but get that plan rolling because this guy's not going to be around for that much longer? Are we thinking that Lewis Hamilton's got maybe another season or two left? He's already one of the oldest drivers on the grid.
He definitely has 2 seasons left after this one,
contract wise.
Yep. His star is not fading at all. No, let's not get it twisted. I think the only reason that if Mercedes had a choice, they would leave Russell at Williams for another year, and then revisit cross that bridge when you get there. But they don't have a choice at this point. Russell's getting antsy. He's seeing Leclerc. He's seeing Norris. He's seeing all his peers.
I don't know if I agree with that. Where's he gonna go? If I'm Russell and I can't get to Mercedes, where am I gonna go? I can't go to Ferrari.
Yeah, but
I can't go to Red Bull.
But he can go. But he can go to Mercedes. They gave him that shot. No,
I understand that, but like,
and he's
if they don't give him the shot, like, where would he end up?
He'll be out of the Mercedes program, which is exactly what Mercedes doesn't want.
Oh, so he's only signed through the end of this year with the Mercedes program?
Well, because if he wants to go anywhere else, I mean, maybe Toto might manage him, but Toto wants it to. Toto's the owner of Mercedes, so he wants him in that umbrella. It's just the same way. Like when we're going to talk about Albon next. Albon is a Red Bull driver.
Spoilers, man.
Sorry, but I think it's a good segue. Albon is a Red Bull driver. He's trying to get a drive at Williams, obviously, because I mean, nothing's confirmed, but we already know that George is on his way to Mercedes. Who else would they put in that seat? So Albon is a Red Bull driver. Toto came out this weekend and said, "Listen, Williams is a Mercedes customer team. We don't want another driver from another camp driving a Mercedes. So they would have to release him." That is the ultimatum that was given to Christian Horner, basically, because Christian Horner controls Alex Albon. These are the wars that are going on behind the scenes. So
The blocks.
Yeah. So, and then the other option would be, all right, if you don't sign Albon, we have another Mercedes driver who's a Formula E championship, and they won the Formula E construction championship, which is Nick de Vries.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the machinations. And Horner shot back this weekend saying, you know, they're trying to get Albon a seat to keep him in Formula One, but Mercedes is blocking the way. Mercedes, quote unquote, Toto Wolff is blocking the way.
Shots.
Yeah.
So let me just bring it back to George Russell. Do we see the question that Ruben asked? Do we see a lot of fighting between Russell and Hamilton? Do we see crashes between them? Do we see
I don't think we'll see it.
negativity?
I don't think we'll see it in the first year.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the first year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
He'll be a little tame the first year, but then after that, it's gonna start the comments from either or saying,
Yeah, but
hey man, this guy.
I'll tell you what, it just depends. It just depends how close it is, man, because we said the same thing about Leclerc and Vettel, and that blew up in Brazil at the end of the first season. So it's just a matter of, you know, how competitive is George going to be? And, I mean, we'll see, man. I mean, he is, in qualifying, he's amazing. I mean, the guys... They call him Mr. They don't call him Mr. Saturday for a reason. Yeah. And you're talking about going up against the best qualifier of all time in Lewis Hamilton, statistically.
And all the stats.
You know, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, I think if Toto Wolff could have waited another year, he would have, but at this point you can't. You gotta Russell has shown too much promise not to be in that seat.
Do you think it's a thing about maturity for Russell, as far as like when he crashed into Bottas and being able to be a team player? And I'm asking this question with a very specific point that I'm going to...
Yeah, absolutely, it's maturity. Because we've seen young drivers come up and they make their mistakes.
I think Russell, maybe driving-wise, he needed more experience. That's the reason why he was at Williams. But I remember listening to the Beyond the Grid with Claire Williams. She said this kid showed up with like a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, that's the ongoing joke. I mean, yeah, listen, he definitely prepares. He's still young, but you need the experience to get to the level where you have like a Sebastian Vettel or a Lewis Hamilton or Kimi Räikkönen. You need the experience.
By the way,
the only way to
the
get
guys
the
you mentioned
experience
are either multiple champions or at least one with Kimi.
Yeah. So what I'm
look
trying
at
to
the
say,
level you're comparing.
The only way to get to that top level is by driving in a top team.
Yes.
We've seen how experienced Checo Perez has been, you know, before Red Bull, and obviously, I mean, I think he's doing a decent job, but he's still getting used to being in a top team and driving up there. His qualifying is not up to par, so it can be difficult, and they all have to go through their steps to get there. This is not something where you just jump in and you're great. You have to work your way to get up to be great.
I'm going to read you some information here, which I think is bananas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alex Albon is 25 years old. Max Verstappen, 23 years old. His birthday is September 30th of 97, which makes me feel extremely freaking old. So 23 years old, September 30th.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Leclerc, 23 years old, October 16th is his birthday. So they're essentially 2 weeks apart.
Right.
George Russell, 23 years old. His birthday is February 15th. These guys, February 15th of 1998, these guys are going to be racing literally for the next decade together.
And Norris is younger than them, man.
And, well, I didn't even look up Lando Norris. So my point in saying that is...
Norris is younger.
Yeah, he's a little bit younger, not by much, though.
We talk about experience and so I'm going to... The next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Max Verstappen, 132 race starts. Charles Leclerc, 71 race starts. George Russell, 51 race starts. Lando Norris, 51 race starts. Same time as
Russell.
as Russell. Lando is 21 years old. Oh my god.
Lando's 21. Max is what, 23?
23.
Max is 23, and already he is the Formula One driver with the most wins without a championship.
So to me, this is as much Mercedes. We have to step into our future as it is kind of anything else. Like they see where the good drivers are coming up, and not that Lewis Hamilton is fading, but
you also can't let everybody walk away.
Correct. There's that, and then they have the benefit of having essentially the top hardware in the system, benefiting Lewis Hamilton. So once these manufacturers, the McLarens, the Ferraris, once they start catching up, you want to make sure you have somebody young in the pipeline to grow with your.
No, and eventually, the reason, I mean, this is a new thing. These driver academies are a fairly new thing in Formula One. And eventually what you have to show when you have a driver academy is that you're going to bring in drivers that have the pedigree to drive for the top team. You know what I mean? Mercedes, for example, this is the first time that they have dropped a driver to bring in a new driver. The other two drivers, meaning Schumacher and Nico Rosberg, have retired from that seat. So eventually what you have to do is that you have to show that, because obviously when you have a successful driver come up through your system, you want other drivers, talented drivers, to come up.
To follow suit.
All right. You already have Ferrari, who promoted Charles Leclerc. You already have Max Verstappen with Red Bull. You know, and Red Bull has also provided Sebastian Vettel as well. Pierre Gasly, you know, but I'm talking about, like, let's say, to drive for the top team and be successful at that. Daniel Ricciardo. I mean, you have to show those victories in order for you to attract good talent. If you bring in a driver and you never give him a shot at the top team, they're gonna be like, I'm gonna go to Ferrari because
Carlos Sainz.
I can get.
Carlos Sainz did it.
You know,
He came through the Red Bull program. Went to, obviously part of the business, went to Renault for like a year or two, and then he went to McLaren, and then went to.
But even when he was with Renault, he was still a Red Bull driver, and eventually he had to,
he had to leave because there was no opportunity for him.
Exactly.
Esteban Ocon, another one.
So and
what system he came from?
He came from the Mercedes system.
Gotcha.
As a matter of fact, Esteban Ocon is still represented by Total Wolff.
As a manager.
I mean, Total Wolff has his tentacles in all over the place in F1.
Imagine how much money he has. Oh, man. All right, so it's getting interesting. Finally, the silly season is starting to get silly. Last week, you guys mentioned that the silly season was a silly calendar season, which I got a good laugh at. You guys thought I didn't listen.
You were on vacation, man.
I couldn't not listen. I wanted to make sure.
You wanted to make sure.
Boys. I want to hear from my boys. Anyway, so that's that. Let's move on. The other kind of slim little bit of news is the Miami GP track finally gets a name. The Miami International Autodrome.
Oh, you went Dominican there.
I almost did.
Miami.
Vamos pa Miami. Bienvenidos pa Miami. Do we care? No.
We're still going to go regarding the name.
It seems like a very, I don't know, it's a very motorsport name.
Yeah, how many autodromes do you know in the U.S.?
Sochi International Autodrome. Miami International Autodrome.
Autodromo Hermanos... I forget the name of the Mexican. Rodriguez, yes.
Circuit of Miami.
Circuit of Miami?
No, Miami. No, Miami. Miami.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'm just glad that at least this is, I mean, obviously it's confirmed. They're building the track already, so it looks good. Jeez. Can't wait to go. I love Miami.
Can't wait. All right. So the race weekend, Ruben, hit the drop.
Gentlemen, a short view back to the past.
20 years ago, no.
Before the season ends,
I gotta do it. I got a couple of months then.
Yeah.
So the race weekend itself,
that'd be like a major speech.
They're for real.
4 scores.
We'll get him one of those British wigs we talked about.
The powdered wig. Guys, so the race weekend, the Dutch Grand Prix, first race back in Zandvoort since 1985. What did you guys think of the track itself?
That track looks fun. Quick lap. The banked corners look cool. I just qualifying was a lot of fun to watch.
Yes.
The race, not so much. But I think that's just because the characteristics of the car you can't follow. But whoever couldn't overtake was actually, it was fun to watch because it's such a narrow track and it's the margins are so slim.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. But I mean, the track itself was great. I think what really made it the most, and it kind of give you that feeling like, damn, I want to be there. It's just like that party atmosphere,
energy,
dude.
They had like Armin van Buuren and DJ Tiesto there.
It was absurd.
Like all these people were like jumping up and down. You see the orange flares. Like it was insane.
It was an orange.
Like damn, I want to be there.
Ruben mentioned it when you guys were watching the race live. When I went back to watch it, when the race started, you couldn't even hear the cars. All you could hear was the crowd.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
The crowd was super, super alive.
And it's good to see that, considering all, again, that there have been no crowds the past year and a half, or very little crowds. Just to see that was amazing. Yeah. And you know what? That excitement like comes through the TV, and you just like, damn, I want to be there.
The after party must have been fun. Meaning at the actual track.
I think they're still drunk.
I mean, I'm gonna say it's like when they open the doors, like people start walking the tracks and they just run to the stage. So they have, because Tiesto was having that set afterwards as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. I think the race was the crowds.
Yeah.
And what made up what took it over the top was Max winning. Max was pretty much.
No, and the promoter even said, I think that they had to tone it down, obviously, because of the situation. They had like an entire like fan festival planned. Like they have like a whole bunch of stuff planned. They're probably gonna come through next year when all this stuff comes down a little bit. But yeah, man. I mean, that'll probably be a race that is gonna be on our wish list to go to.
Yeah, I mean,
like when you go to we're going to Monza next week, but when you see Monza and those crowds on the podium, that's probably gonna be a destination, especially. Now that you have, I mean, that Grand Prix happens only because Max Verstappen is who he is, to be honest with you.
They said they had, I think I read a stat on Reddit that there was like 6 million viewers in the Netherlands alone. That was equal to 1/3 of their whole population, which is ridiculous. Like imagine 1/3 of the U.S. watching. That's like 100
which
million people.
Never happens on any event, not even maybe the Super Bowl. May? I don't know.
I'm not going to judge the race itself that much as far as like how exciting the Grand Prix was, but the crowd was never quiet.
Yeah.
Even the announcer, I forget which one said it, but they were like that they had to keep repeating stuff to Hamilton because the crowd was so. I don't know if I believe it, but I could believe it. Like if that was the case.
Well, I thought you were going to mention what Rosberg said, but yeah.
Well, no. I mean, we should have talked about that with Rosberg.
Oh my Lord!
Hold on, let me get this out. I thought that the track, although while it was nice and nostalgic to go back to, it was very claustrophobic. Just kind of the way it folded back in on itself. Mm-hmm. I felt like just watching it, like it was just very tight. I think I had read. I don't know if one of you guys said it that it was like Monaco but without the walls.
Mm-hmm. They were saying that the new Monaco without the walls.
It was just it just felt very tight.
But it's quick.
It's a quick lap
because it's not like Monaco's tight, and to say Hungary is as tight as well.
Very technical,
but they're not as quick. This track is fast,
so that's what I think saved it. In that, like that all the corners in which the overtaking line or the fastest line was on the outside and not like cutting the corner, not hitting the apex of the corner.
Off of turn 3. Oh no, not turn 3. Turn 3 is the
turn 3 is the bank.
Turn 2 and the chicane were more of the best overtaking spots. I mean, Checo Perez, when he's moving up the field, made most of his overturn on the chicane. But I think it was Latifi. He overtook.
Did a crazy overtake.
He did an overtake, but it was on the outside, and that was on turn 1.
Right, Alonso on turn 3, right at the start of the race, taking up a bunch of spots.
Yeah,
it was cool to see that. But man, like
usually the best way to go is on the inside, but on the outside.
Like most of the times, it's on overtake. You were waiting for him to crash because
exactly. Cause I just felt like it was so tight a race. Like,
even better with the spin that he took.
But I think that the reason why is that these corners are not off camber, meaning that it doesn't. If you're gonna turn right, the corner banks right. And most corners they bank to the left, even though you're going right. So that's what makes it a little bit more difficult to go on the outside. When you have a banked corners, yay USA for our banked corners, you have the opportunity to take different lines, and there's just as quick.
It's like watching NASCAR. That's a good point.
Yeah. So I mean, I hope that this race is actually going to be better with next year's cars, because I think the only issue here wasn't really that it's tight, even though it is tight for compared to other tracks. The issue is just that it's hard to follow.
Okay, that's the reason why I'm not going to criticize as much for being a snooze fest, because the first time we go there, the cars are changing for next year.
Yeah, the cars are going to change for
totally
next year.
different than
but you saw it. I mean, during the race, you saw Leclerc saying he was trying to catch up to Gasly, and every time he said that, every time he got into like 2 seconds, he would lose downforce. Hamilton says the same thing with
Max.
With Max, I believe also Alonso says something to that effect as well.
He said he was not in control of the car when he was trying to chase down Carlos Sainz. At the end,
so I mean,
which is crazy.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, I remember I think Alonso took the outside line, which is the upper line, we would say the faster line, and Ocon took the bottom line. And he looked like he was going to go for it, but there's no way to do it, because then the car still.
He said he almost lost the car,
and the car still.
And
goes
that was
up.
like almost at the last lap,
dude.
Yeah.
So as far as so that was the track. That was kind of like our thoughts on like it coming back. The top two, the World Drivers' Championship, the battle,
WDC.
So before we started recording, Ruben was like, "What the heck is the WDC, dude? World Drivers' Championship." So like this track was just not real representative. I think we would have seen more of where we really are last week in Spa if we had the race, but we saw that Max was worlds ahead with the car and like just what he was doing as far as
from the green light.
Yeah, from qualifying, from practices, qualifying, we saw that he was able to, even without DRS at points in his final lap, or his best lap in qualifying, that he was still able to out-qualify Lewis Hamilton.
By 3,000? No, thousandths of a second?
Hundredths of a second, sorry.
Yeah, 300ths of a second. Without DRS.
What do we think? So from here, we go to Monza. Then we go to Russia. Right now, Max leads by 4 points in the Drivers' Championship. It's getting tight.
Let's go over the results of the race and then.
The results of the race were Max Verstappen won, Lewis Hamilton second, Valtteri Bottas third, Pierre Gasly,
your boy,
fourth,
the great guy,
the gas man,
Charlie fifth, sixth Alonso, seventh Sainz, eighth Perez, driver of the day right there. Esteban Ocon, 9th, and Lando Norris, 10th, beating out his teammate. So, what that does for us is, obviously, like I said, closes the gap to 4 points for the World Drivers' Championship.
With Max Verstappen taking the lead.
With Verstappen taking the lead, thanks to those half points from last week.
Spa, yeah.
One thing that I wanted to talk about before, I'm going to bring it up now. We saw this week, something that we were talking about before. Now it's not really even their fault. We saw Sergio Perez take a grid penalty because of the new engine. Max will need to take a new engine at some point, real soon.
Right.
I think next week is the perfect opportunity. The best track for overtaking, Monza, coming right up. Sprint race next week, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Does he take the grid penalty next week? Or rather, let me ask the question a different way. Is the reliability issues, or the cost cap, is that now going to start to really hamper the Red Bull team?
I don't think it's going to hamper them because, well, like we spoke last week, they are getting the extra money from Japan, so they have that to use. So that alleviates a lot of the issues that they were going to have if that race had kept going. I don't think they take it. My opinion, I don't think they take it because they would want a bigger lead in the championship before they do.
Okay.
You can't
I would say that reverse. What if you lose and then you have to come back? Then you also have the penalty over your head that you have to take at some point later on.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
And
what do
track
you
would
do?
you do it after that?
Right. So then you have Russia after that. You're going to have like your Singapores. You're going to have Mexico, which probably is a good track to do it, but there's not a lot of overtaking there. You're going to have Austin.
Well, I mean, it would be a track that they are.
Singapore's not happening.
This I think you have a point. I think you have a point because this track would be. They would rather take a new engine at a track where they know they're gonna be better overall than Mercedes. They're expecting to not be as good in Monza because the Mercedes is faster on the straights.
Right. But here you'll be able to, because your car is second best, you'll be able to overtake everybody easily, I think. So to me, strategically,
Makes sense to do it in Monza.
Yeah.
or at worst,
To climb up.
it's either one of the next two races, Russia or Monza or Russia, because Russia, you'll also have the ability to overtake those that super long. It's not a straight, but it's like a kink that is turn one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you can do a lot of overtaking there as well. It's a very kind of not technical track, but it's
Well, you have a
wide
better
open.
chance at overtaking him in Monza than you do at Sochi.
Absolutely.
Sochi traditionally is not a very good track for overtaking.
yeah, you're right.
So Monza is
It's just too many 90-degree turns at Sochi.
So Monza is the place to do it.
Right?
Yeah.
But now we're into, oh man, the reliability, or like now all these crashes starting to affect Red Bull. And this is something that we talked about at the beginning of the season, that it's going to start to compound.
Yeah.
So imagine.
Also, what you have to realize too is that, and this came out on Motorsport as well. Red Bull admitted that they were willing to sacrifice the victory yesterday in order to make sure that Verstappen finished ahead of Hamilton. So they were willing to let Bottas win if they had to. Just so.
That's crazy.
Yeah, just so he would finish ahead of Lewis Hamilton. So that shows you where their head is at. I think they want to pad that lead a little bit more before they start taking any penalties.
What a disaster Silverstone was for them.
Yeah, that was an awesome point about Wells. I think Monza is the place to take the penalty.
Yeah, but there's there's other tracks on the schedule that they can do it at.
I don't know. After Russia, it's Turkey, then Austin, then Mexico. Assuming these go on, United States, Mexico, Brazil, all one after each other. Not a triple header, but like just after each other. Then it's TBC, then Saudi Arabia and
Qatar
and Abu Dhabi. Saudi Arabia we haven't seen, so it's hard to really talk about.
But that
Russia,
track looks quick.
right.
That track is that's probably what I think it's the longest track on the calendar, or close, or one of the second one. So that track might favor Mercedes because it has a long ass straight too.
I don't know, man. It's good. I mean, looking at it, like based on the history that we know, right? We anticipate that Monza and Russia are going to favor Hamilton. We anticipate, we don't know what Turkey's going to do, but we saw Hamilton deliver in Turkey last year. USGP, to me, that looks more like a Red Bull track because there's so much of the twisty turny. There's like a sector, the end of sector 1 going into sector 2, and then like there's the middle portion in sector 3, and then Mexico. Red Bull has just been always tremendous at. I don't know, man. It's gonna be.
That means that Abu Dhabi is finally going to be a good race.
Finally going to be.
I don't know if it's going to be a good race, but it's going to have a meaningful result.
Because it's going to go to the end. That's what it means. But we're all like, I don't know, man. What's going to happen?
But going back to one's question, that is a very good point.
You got to take it now.
I think they should take it now.
It'll be interesting what they do.
Because if they don't take it now, then they just be going with the wave.
I would think
take the penalty when the engine blows up, or what? Like, lose a race, and that's what always has
lose a race that you need to win.
Exactly.
You don't want to do that. Right now, you're in the lead by a little bit. Take the penalty. See what you can do with.
The thing is that the tracks that are similar that we can compare mostly to Monza would be probably a Silverstone and Spa. Spa we obviously didn't get to see because of the rain. We didn't see how quick they were. And Silverstone...
What about Austria?
Or even Austria. And who won at Austria? Red Bull won at Austria. So, and then Silverstone, obviously, we didn't see... We saw, obviously, that Mercedes were quicker on the straights. But the way Max has been performing in qualifying. If he gets ahead, if he stays ahead, so if he stays ahead at the race start, he'll stay ahead. Maybe Mercedes might chase him down, but
So then what you're saying is that don't take it at Monza.
meaning that the Red Bull could just as easily be as quick or even quicker than the Mercedes at Monza.
But that's
You get what I'm saying?
No, but
So we
that
just
leads
don't
into
know.
my point, though. Like
That's what I wanted to say.
where what you
Oh
do
no,
is,
I'm not trying to go
You can't-
against what you're saying. What I'm saying is that it's a good point. This is what
Meaning-
these are the things that are playing into it, because we could easily say that, all right, Red Bull is not going to be, because the other point is, all right, if Red Bull's not going to be as quick as a Mercedes, you kind of give it up. You move through the field and get your points, and then you get maximum points at a track that suits you better. But Monza could easily suit the Red Bull better, because they've actually done very good at fast tracks.
so like, for example,
Because they make up their time on the corners, and then on the straights.
if they take the penalty, then Max is able to climb up and get at least third, second.
Yeah. And you would want to do it on a track that you can overtake easier,
right. So then,
instead of a tight, twisty track.
Jeez.
to me, it's like, okay, so you know that's where you're at. Start on an off strategy right off the bat. Go start on hards if you want. Start on mediums, whatever, and then just go crazy and see how far you can go.
And the Red Bull has shown that it's better on the tires than the Mercedes. So I think Mercedes, especially Hamilton, is a master at preserving his tires. That's why they've always been competitive at tracks where their tire wear is going through the roof. The Red Bull has shown that it's very good on its tires. So
I think
I think I heard something yesterday
it's very close.
calling Checo Perez the tire whisperer.
so. That's the other thing. This guy needs to. Whenever they decide to swap out that engine and take that penalty, Perez needs to really get it together and step up.
He needs to qualify better. What I'm seeing Checo Perez fall into is in the same trap that Alex Albon was falling into, where Alex Albon during the race was actually very effective in moving up through the field, but he never qualified to the top. Checo Perez is falling into that same trap, and he needs to step it up. Obviously, from what it looks like right now, we might see, because Perez is not qualifying well, we might see Mercedes take the WCC, World Constructors Championship, Ruben.
Where I declared them dead.
Yeah, and Max Verstappen taking the WDC,
Which would be crazy.
But you want both,
Of course.
so and we all know Bottas, as we couldn't criticize him, but Bottas will get enough points.
Yeah.
And Bottas is better qualifying against Hamilton than he was during the race.
Yep.
Yes.
So as long as he's up there, he's getting enough points for the team to win that Constructors Championship.
Causing them strategy nightmares. So the WDC 224.5, that's Verstappen, 221.5. So it's actually 3 points, not even 4. For Lewis Hamilton, Bottas is at 123. Lando Norris is at 114, fading. Sergio Perez is at 108. So that kind of leads right into the Constructors Championship standings, where, like what we were just talking about, Perez needs to really step it up. Taking that penalty kind of hurt. Mercedes is up 344.5 to 332.5, so it's a 12-point difference. So right there, if instead of 8th, Perez finishes 3rd, then obviously it's a 1 or 2 point advantage. Ferrari's at 181.5, McLaren's at 170. So we see that start to shake out. But these are upcoming good tracks for Mercedes. So we'll see how things go. And it's really, now the onus is on Perez to go out and win Red Bull that Constructors Championship. I don't know if there's any other way to say that.
What do you think Perez needs to do? Obviously, Jancy,
He needs to be Valtteri Bottas, plain and simple. That's all he has to do.
I think strategy as well has to be worked out better for him. Because, for example, his last qualifying lap, he couldn't go through because there was just traffic in front of him.
Yeah, but
And like position and all of that stuff has to work into it.
And Red Bull has been terrible at that because they did that to Alex Albon a lot.
Exactly. So, and it's also coming to play where qualifying and even the race, the slightest mistake is costing you a ton of positions.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what happened to Paris.
Yeah.
Paris locked up hard into one of the turns. Had to come in super early to change from hard tires to mediums.
Killed his advantage.
So
Yeah,
if he would have saved those 25 seconds, he would have finished in the top 5.
Yep.
If he didn't take that.
And then the reason why in qualifying they put him in a bad position to get that last lap. When the reason why the times were so up there, why he had to make up so much time is that track evolution was so crazy, because obviously that track is hard on the tires. So obviously it's taking off more rubber off those tires. The more rubber you have on the track, the more grip you have. These cars are going to go faster. So Red Bull also didn't put him in the position to make that last lap.
So
either way, he's still too slow.
Is that because of situations like that Red Bull is not giving you the tools 100%? Is that where he's not so much it's not criticized as much as Albon, because Red Bull is the one that's also messing up.
I think we have to be consistent, Ruben. I think I'm saying we have to be consistent. If we're obviously Red Bull made their mistakes, and we'll criticize that. But at the end of the day, it comes to how fast the driver is driving, and the only job of the driver is to go quick in that car. And he needs to do that, and he needs to do it consistently. Right now, as much as slack as Bottas gets, he's doing it more consistently than Perez.
Yes.
And they're just as experienced. If not, Perez is even more experienced than Bottas. So you gotta be in the party to fucking enjoy the party.
Well, he shows in the race that he is, because he's always been able to do it. Even with Force India, he will always climb. But he was, even with Force India, he was not the greatest qualifier. Yeah,
but again, it's like how many positions you're not. I mean, I know that he came from the back of the grid to win a race, but that barely happens. If and for example, if you're gonna do that in a top car, if you're gonna do that, you're not gonna be finishing. What did you finish in this race? 6th or 7th? He finished 7th, if I'm not mistaken. So if you finish 7th, you usually, if you see Lewis Hamilton, he finished 8th. If you see Lewis Hamilton come up the grid like that, you should finish closer to the podium than 8th. And the reason why he didn't finish there, he should have finished at least 4th or 5th. And like you said, the only reason he didn't there, he made a mistake going into the first corner and just flat spotted the life out of those tires, where he had to come in for an extra pit stop.
Did he start from he start last, no?
He started from the pit lane because at that point, if you're starting 16th, you might as well take you got to take a new engine.
Take the penalty now.
Yeah. I don't know. This is gonna be tight, man. At the end of the year,
that's gonna be fun.
All right. So at Zandvoort, back to the actual race. Man, it was such a boring race, guys. Like, it was cool to watch Perez come up the field. It was nice to see Latifi with a couple of overtakes, but other than that, man, it was like, Gasly. 4th place.
Qualify well.
Qualify well, and he performed well. Pretty much all that needs to be said there.
That's exactly how his race went. It was just like, qualify 4th, stay 4th. Yeah. Nobody was around me. Yeah. I mean, the only person that maybe came close was Leclerc.
At the beginning, but wasn't even both were right at the beginning of the race.
He finished. Yeah, he was like, he got up to like almost 2 seconds behind them, but like we said before, it was hard to follow. So
once they got speed, you had to give each other space, because you were not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
you were probably going to crash.
Yeah, you would slow up enough for the other car behind you to catch up with you. So I mean, it was, you know what, Gasly is doing his thing, man. You know, he's
keeping his head down.
He's overcoming anything.
I think he got his confidence back.
He's been had it. I think also the team hasn't put him in good enough positions, but it seems like they sorted everything out. I mean, he's on it. He's on it. He's been on it since last year. He's going to be one of those drivers going into next year looking for a better drive too.
Next week is exactly a year since his
actually win. It is. It's this today, September 6th, 2020 is when he won in the Italian Grand Prix. That's crazy.
Damn. That was an interesting one.
What did I do, guys?
What did I do? Yeah. Oh man. Alpine double points. Alonso looked like a man out there. He showed his experience to me. That kind of it was funny to watch Alonso in that track with bank corners, knowing that he has IndyCar experience.
That's what I was trying to say.
I was like, yo, this is awesome to see.
No, and like the thing is, at one point when they wanted pretty much against him and Ocon to switch places, and he just like, well, I can pick up the pace. I was just pretty much taking it easy. Okay,
It was
let's go.
cool trying to see him take the outside line on turn 3. Turn 3 is one of the bank corners there. Trying to take the outlet. He couldn't pull off the move, but he tried it. It looked cool.
He's the man. He's getting his powers back.
Alpine was it actually at the beginning of the race? Both of them made up a couple of places.
Yeah, they were running with each other. It's Ocon. It seemed like his tires went off at the end of the stint. Same thing with Sainz. So he was losing places to people with fresher tires. So, but either way, it's still for Alpine, the way they started the year, very positive results, both in the points. They're moving up. It looks like they're looking to take to cement their 5th place status in the Constructors Championship.
Dude, Ferrari double points. Like the whole midfield, it was just quiet except for Alpine.
Well, I wouldn't say, I'm looking at the standings now. I think Aston Martin is dropped off the pace of that 5th place. So, and AlphaTauri is only
climbing up.
6 points behind.
So it's really not even AlphaTauri; it's Pierre Gasly, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Even though Sonoda has had his points finishes, but it's really been mostly Pierre Gasly.
Gasly's at 66 and AlphaTauri's at 84. So it's like the Lando
No,
Norris.
but
thing.
what really hurt Aston Martin was that retirement on DSQ when Vettel was disqualified. That he wasn't.
You're right.
And then Stroll took out Leclerc, and he was
And then obviously with
Hungary, to be exact.
Ocon winning, that gives him a bunch of points too. Talking about Alpine, so listen, man, we have.
they've been constantly. Alpine has been constantly getting for the last few races double points.
So what we're looking at now with the Constructors Championship, you're looking at the battle for 1st, battle for 3rd, battle for 5th, and then it looks like Aston Martin is probably going to solidly stay safe in 7th because I don't see Williams moving up that further up.
Yeah. Even with Mr. Saturday.
They got 20 points. That'll be a lonely 8th place for them.
Man, that would be.
But we haven't seen this before. We've seen 3-way battles, but it's interesting. Now we can actually focus on 2 teams for each space, which is cool because we can compare and contrast. So obviously you have Ferrari double points finish. McLaren was nowhere this season. I mean this race, I should say.
Yeah. Then just to round out this race, driver of the day, Sergio Perez. We talked about him a little earlier. Yeah, he did a lot of overtakes, but he clearly had a better car than the people that he overtook. Whatever, I guess. I'm surprised.
This weekend was not McLaren's weekend.
Red Bull?
Yeah, no, McLaren's. This weekend was not McLaren's weekend. They couldn't do anything.
It was definitely Max's week.
Yeah, Max. Well, I think Max, after the first lap, he was already up 2 seconds. Max, at the end of the first lap, he was already up to 2 seconds.
He was gone. I thought it was going to be a closer race down to turn 1, but he was gone.
He had a great start. Man, Valtteri Bottas, another not great start. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, but Lewis Hamilton didn't have a great start either.
Nope.
Well, all right. Standings we talked about. Anything else on this race? Well, it'll be interesting, like you guys said, next year to see it with the new cars. But
yeah, I mean,
probably next year will be a heavier party, a heavier party.
I think that the consequences of the results of the race are heavier than the actual race itself. The race wasn't that much fun. If you like strategy, it was
a race for that.
Yeah, if you wanted to start doing math in that, but I was too hungover to do any math, so I'm just just watching the race.
So Wellington was going crazy when he saw it.
No,
he was on some
port wine,
a perfect mind, or whatever. What's the name?
Beautiful mind.
Beautiful mind. Yeah,
nah,
with the equations going through the head.
All right, so that's Zandvoort. Monza preview. Ruben, lead us in with our our traditional trivia.
All right, so trivia this weekend is actually a little because I had to do it here in the morning because I don't know what happened to me this week. Late with the weekend. I don't know.
Hungover.
No, I didn't drink that much like you, but but let's go with a easy question, right? Name the only year the Monza has not hosted the Italian Grand Prix.
The only year?
Yep.
1985.
I mean, I know 2020. No, because they had Mugello. They had
No, 1980.
No,
It was,
1980.
yeah, they were going to renovation because
If it was the Price is Right, I would have won.
yeah.
So let's
Why
do this
didn't?
one.
Do you know why they didn't hold it?
In 1978, there was a big accident, and they went to again more renovations into the track to make it safer and all that other stuff.
Oh, it's probably when they added the chicane. Okay, all right.
Name the driver in 2008 that saw his first win and then make him the youngest driver to win a Grand Prix here in Monza.
2008.
Yes.
Lewis Hamilton.
No, Sebastian Vettel. Come on,
Shit, that's right.
come on, dude.
With Alfa with
Toro Rosso.
Yeah, Toro Rosso. Yeah.
Close to
Jesus, man.
I was like, oh man, he's got it.
No, I don't.
Right? That's what I thought. Oh,
Damn it, I forgot about that. Yeah.
before him, at that time, the youngest driver was Fernando Alonso. And then after him was Max Verstappen.
I don't know why I thought.
This is actually a super hard one, I think. Name the only driver that has won the Italian Grand Prix 3 times in a row. This is almost impossible for you guys to get it. Go ahead, Jens.
Fangio.
No, he got it. Yes, he got it.
He's already hit the wrong button.
I was like, what?
You get a double plus for that one. He did it in 53, 54, and 55.
Yes, he's doing his homework.
Yep. That's all I got for trivia.
I don't know
some
why.
history.
Why did I know Sebastian? I didn't know Sebastian Vettel. Like, it's stupid. All right.
So in history, this is actually a super historic track. It's been around for, for even before I was born. That's a long time. It's actually the 5th oldest Grand Prix after the French, the American, Spanish, and the Russian Grand Prix. We're not talking about Monza. We're just talking about the Italian Grand Prix itself. It has been held since 1921. In 2019 was the 89th Grand Prix. So last year was the 90th, blah, 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 It is along with the British Grand Prix where a Formula One event has been held every season since the very beginning, when we're still speaking about the Italian Grand Prix. Now referring to Monza, Monza has always been known for a super dangerous track because of the big banking curves that it had at the beginning that were pretty much Dutch Grand Prix was nothing compared to the banks that Monza had back then.
Oh, because they use the inside oval.
Yes.
Yeah, that they have there.
Another name that is also used for Monza is the Temple of Speed we mentioned earlier. In 1971, it saw the closest F1 race in history. It was only separated by 0.01, which is a tenth of a second, 1/10 of a second. 100. The second, the first 5 cars finished by just 0.61 of a second.
Wow.
Obviously, just like one of the trivia questions, since he came into Formula One, only 1980 has not been held in Monza. It is the fastest track on the calendar and the fastest race as well when it comes to timing that the for the race to take place. Because of how quick we can get around the track. It's also the track where Schumacher announced his retirement in 2006, where also saw then in 2007, Kimi Raikkonen come into play. Most win by drivers is tied with 5 apiece, Hamilton and Schumacher, and it's also followed by Piquet with 4. Most win by constructors, Ferrari with 20, McLaren with 10, followed by Mercedes with 9. Most win by engine manufacturers, Ferrari with 21. Mercedes with 14, Alfa Romeo with 9. So Alfa Romeo is popping up in history somewhere. And that's pretty much, there's a ton of the history on this track, but I didn't prepare for it.
This is a track that has a lot of interesting finishes. We saw last year Pierre Gasly won. That was an incredible race. Pierre Gasly won and Carlos Sainz second place. The year before that, Charles Leclerc won, finally bringing a win to the Tifosi.
Back to Ferrari,
yeah. And Monza.
Well, 19 was also the race where in qualifying, they were just playing cat and mouse game between
Yes, that's what. Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Yeah,
because the toe is so huge.
Important here
because this is obviously the fastest track on the calendar.
Crazy.
So there's very little turns. It's just fast.
Predictions. We'll do qualifying and race. I'll do qualifying. I'm going to go with Hamilton, Max, Bottas. No, let me change that up. Hamilton, Bottas, Max.
What? Yeah.
Hamilton, Bottas, Max.
That's always going to go. That's what I say. What? It's qualifying is Hamilton, Bottas, Max. Fourth and fifth?
I think fourth and fifth. I think like Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris.
Flip it. Norris, Leclerc. Go ahead.
Hamilton, Max, Bottas, Norris, Leclerc.
Okay, race win. I think it's going to be a battle up front. Whoever qualifies up front, the first row, it's going to be a battle. That first chicane.
It's going to be like Silverstone.
We've seen.
I would like to see.
Yeah, but we're forgetting that this is sprint qualifying.
Also true, yeah.
Whoa!
Does that change your?
Yes, I think Max is going to win the sprint qualifying.
So he's going to be first.
So he's going to be first.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Damn, good point, Yancy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it's going to be qualifying just totally changes it. It will be qualifying for me. Will be Max, Hamilton, Norris, Bottas, Leclerc. It's going to be a toss-up fourth and fifth between Bottas and Leclerc.
I'm not going to change it. I think it's going to stay the same way I said it. It'll be Hamilton winning, Max second, Bottas third, and then
That's a sprint.
That's a sprint race.
I cannot wait to watch this.
I think that the only reason Max was able to get out in front in Silverstone was because Lewis had a bad start. And I don't know what is going on with their starts this year. I'm talking about Mercedes. They seem to like not have good starts. But I'm pretty sure when Mercedes is on a problem, they're on it. They'll fix it. I think they'll
come through this weekend.
They'll come through this weekend. This is again, like we talked about before. They have to take the wins at these next two tracks because if they don't, they're going to be at a serious disadvantage going into the rest of the car.
We're still on qualifying, which is in this case will be sprint race. So even if Max I have him winning the sprint race, he's not going to win the race.
I have him not winning the race. I have Ham, Bottas, Max.
If listen, I mean, my qualifying order is going to stay the same for the
winning?
race. Yeah, no, Hamilton's going to win this race. It's going to be Hamilton and Verstappen and Bottas. We saw something very interesting in Zandvoort. Bottas, Max, Hamilton, and Bottas lapped everyone.
Yep.
So they're basically the only drivers, aside from maybe Perez if he starts up front, that have the pace. You see how fast they are. So it's definitely going to be, if nothing goes wrong, if everything stays the same, the Mercedes is faster at this track. They won't beat them by much, but they'll beat Max Verstappen. Because you can see how good of a driver those two guys are.
He says they'll beat Max Verstappen. They'll beat.
No, because
Perez nowhere.
The car is good, but it doesn't suit Perez's driving style.
But remember.
But then again,
it's a fast track.
Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen right now, as far as the rest of the drivers, they're at another level, bro. But it's just you can see how quick they are, and they push each other to be that quick.
Just to help Perez. We have to remember what happened at one of the last fast tracks they were racing in Baku. Perez did a phenomenal job in Baku.
Perez capitalized on the mistakes of other drivers and the issues. I don't know if I would say he did a phenomenal.
Well, he held Hamilton down for a long time too. So to hold him down, you have to also be up there with the speed.
Long time ago.
Poor Perez.
Guys, anything else on this? As I'm running out of power on my laptop.
Nah, man, that's it. We're going to the Temple of Speed, home of the Tifosi and Ferrari, baby. Even though they're not gonna do that.
You forgot the woo. You forgot the woo at the end.
No,
Tifosi and Ferrari, woo. No. Okay.
No. That's gonna be next week.
And it's the ending of the triple header, which is
it's an ending. It's been a fun run.
It's ending at the triple header is ending on a super must-watch race. So
I can't wait.
This is not a race that you want to miss, in my opinion.
And the sprint qualifying just makes it so much better.
Yep.
Guys, Jump the Start Racing Podcast on YouTube. Hello. We're on multiple podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher. At Jump to Start F1. Okay, Vanna White and Miss America, and you guys are waving here like.
Give a thumbs up.
At Jump to Start F1 on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to follow us. Say hello. That's it.
That's it.
We'll see you then, guys. Enjoy.
Peace.
It's race week.
Peace.